Good afternoon and welcome to Padre's Ponderings from the chapel.
Hello, hello, hello. Cars, do you see all the cars camped stuff out there on the field?
Mm-hmm. We have a soccer camp on the field this morning.
Well, yeah, I was thinking it was going to be kind of quiet. Something happening.
Quieter. But
Something happening.
Not quiet. There's stuff happening all the time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, which is a great thing. Preschool runs all year, like the little people for daycare, and then also they have a summer camp, and then the sports camps will be running throughout.
Summer camp and then sports camps.
This morning was
But
soccer.
that's different than the preschool part. Well, I thought those were some bigger looking children out there.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Now, the sports camp's done by teachers, coaches, or whatever at the school?
Yes.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
So I'm working on schedules all the way up through October, looking at worship schedules and preaching and teaching and all that
Through
kind of stuff
October.
in there. Through October, yes. Well,
I'm working on
there's
December.
people moving stuff all around, you know, so
Yes.
we'll have big collisions if you don't get way out there on that. So working on that and trying to get all the pieces together and
Because I don't think people realize
put Dave in there
how
for the first time to be preaching.
many people it requires. So you have assistants and the priests and
Oh, yeah.
everybody's moving around. It's a lot of hands.
And then that information has to get out for people to. I scheduled the assistants that are working with the service, but then other people are scheduling who's doing the acolyte and that kind of stuff, and then the music people and all the rest of it. There's a lot of moving pieces in that, and then you got folks being gone this place and that place too. So you can't take for granted everybody's here. And then, like I said, I want to begin. Dave gets ordained in June, and so the last week in June. And so I'm going to put him in and let him start preaching every now and then in August. So I got that worked in there. Then that complicates stuff even more. So.
That doesn't complicate.
Oh yeah.
It just adds another.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, good problem to have.
And then starting to work. By then we should have Bennett here, and I'll start working him in September. He comes July 1st. No, start working him in to assist in August. Yep. So he'll have a month to kind of get oriented, and then we'll.
So you will this summer. There will be 3 different people sitting here to introduce to the congregation different times.
Yep.
So looking forward to. I just had a meeting and about onboarding to make sure we've got everything that everybody needs. Lots of moving parts and.
Yep. Now, is it next week that you're
That's
gone?
exciting.
Or week after that?
We don't like to talk about when we go out of town.
We don't? Okay.
The one time, the beach trip, once a year, we do.
Okay.
Because we do Padre's Ponderings live.
Oh,
But
alrighty.
no.
Well, that's good.
Yes, my husband's in safety and security. So you don't put that on the internet. Much like, what was it when we first started doing this and you told everybody your password to your phone?
Regina
and
was
Regina was standing at the, no.
Oh, day.
So she had to go change all your passwords.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to share everything.
And this in this world, it's sad that you got to think about that kind of stuff. But we had this thing rolling around this past Friday and Saturday. Someone was sending out a thing like saying I wanted.
We get those at least once a week.
But the thing is, if you don't pay attention, and one of the folks in the vestry went out and got all these cards and stuff.
Oh,
and
Lordy. So just
but
a point
the
of
email
reference.
wasn't anywhere. I don't do things like that for money.
No.
And then if you look, the email address was not my email address.
It's never your email address. So, but point of reference. You will never send anyone an email asking for iTunes gift cards.
No.
Is that correct?
Never.
Do you even
Or
know
asking
what
for
an
money?
iTunes gift card is?
Not really.
See, that's a clue. If the email is asking for something like, I don't even know if he knows what iTunes is.
I really don't.
You're probably right.
But I don't do email. I don't ask for money in emails and all. I just don't do that.
No, we do things like capital campaigns.
Yeah. But last
But
minute
that's
stuff, I don't,
that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So you always be cautious.
And there are people who there's scammy kind of people out there. And that's a reality.
Yeah.
That's a reality. So,
Well, you were talking about the parking lot being full. Last Wednesday, Sue's in there laughing. She's watching us. Hi, Sue. Last Wednesday, we had almost 300 people on campus
for the
for the Rooted program.
Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening. Did I say morning? Wednesday evening. And we had evening prayer in the chapel ahead of time at 5:15 to 5:45. And then
Rooted starts at
dinner
6.
last week. And then our program. So really interesting to see that many people in the summer too. So very exciting.
And the way that is it working out like you and Barb and all the other planners were hoping it would?
It's much larger than we anticipated, for
Yeah.
sure. I think at the beginnings of the conversations, Barb was saying, oh, it'd be great if we could get 100 people.
So it's 3 times bigger than that. Mm-hmm. So how about logistically?
Logistically, we had a little
all
bit of
that?
growing pains. Because a lot of people signed up those last couple of days before it started. So that just made it hard, especially when you're trying to put people in intentional groups based on location, stage of life, different things like that. So,
And how about
but
materials?
we're working it through. That's been a problem because we didn't have enough, and we keep getting shipments. So we should have enough books now. So if you haven't gotten your book yet, we have 2 boxes of them for tomorrow night for people to pick up.
Well, how about the way the program is being received by people? Is it too early to tell whether or not
That was only
good?
week 2 last week. This week the focus is on prayer. So we actually are fasting in preparation for tomorrow night. So tonight, after people eat dinner, they will fast, and this is at my table and some tables around me. A lot of people at the table have not fasted in this way before. They've fasted for like dietary reasons and stuff like that, but not for the intention of prayer, the spiritual discipline of fasting. So after dinner tonight, then we'll fast, and then we'll break fast after our prayer time tomorrow in our small groups. So the small groups are providing meal for their table, kind of like a small potluck, and we will break fast together about 7 o'clock after our prayer time. So there'll be a group prayer time with the reading of scripture and response and prayer through the Book of Common Prayer. Dave has selected some prayers for that. And then we'll have 30 minutes of individual time where people can come to the chapel, they can sit outside, wherever they want to be alone in prayer.
This is from the 6 o'clock?
6 to 7. So it's whole group
And that's in
then
addition to the
individual.
evening prayer service at 5.
Yes, it is
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And Kim Clark's doing a fantastic job with the children's program, creating it kind of like a VBS type.
Do you have
of setting.
like a nursery for
We
the
have
littlest
nursery.
ones? I think that's just amazing. Because, you think that during the summertime people would disconnect. And that's just a great affirmation that the Lord's doing some
They're
special
engaging.
things. Yeah.
Right. People are hungry for connection.
Now, when you work through the Rooted, at the end of the Rooted program, what's the follow through with respect to connecting?
I was actually, Pastor Nathan and I were just talking about that. The hope is after this 10-week time, then we're going to be launching people off campus into home groups, small groups that are meeting in different homes.
Now, would the idea be
downtown.
that the groups that are meeting now would be the groups that would continue into the small group? And if you didn't like somebody that was in your group, you can bail out and go to another
You could,
group
yes.
or something like that.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is it's not.
You don't have to stay with your group.
Yeah, it's not a fixed. This is it.
But like my group, we were in Alpha together. We were in an Alpha group. And then at the end of Alpha, we're like, hey, do you want to continue and go to Rooted? So our entire group from Alpha has moved into Rooted now.
Were there many groups that did that?
There were a handful of them that did.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So our table last week already started the conversation of what's next.
Well, now,
So we'll continue that.
do you have
thought.
people in Rooted that didn't go to Alpha?
Absolutely, tons.
So now the idea being that you'd hope they'd, in the fall, they would, or whenever Alpha is next, that they would do that.
They could, but they don't. You don't have to.
It's not, okay.
No, because we've got other stuff in the fall coming up. My goodness.
When the next
Confirmation's
Alpha's not going to be in the
coming
fall?
No, the next Alpha will probably be in January, February, something like that. So,
Yeah, the confirmation's going to be a lot of affirmation, faith, be a lot of that. And you've got other Bible studies and stuff going on too.
we do, and I'm trying to get all of that organized so that we can put it out to the parish on August the 1st. That's my target, my goal. We're going to put it out in a digital magazine where everything for the fall will be listed. Bible studies, confirmation, baptism dates, Advent, Christmas times, service times, Wednesday night teachings in the fall, Advent Wednesday night teaching, lessons and carols, listen off things that I recently put
Blessing
in
of the
there.
animals.
All of the blessing of the animals, All Saints Day, all of those. The fall is packed
Yeah.
with a lot of different special things too.
Stewardship is in there. Thanksgiving Sunday's there.
Yep. So all of that information will go out by August 1. And if it's not on the calendar August 1, we'll move it to the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's getting harder and harder with our facilities. We're bigger now than we've ever been. Fair to say?
And that thing about and we've got more programming than we ever have had too. And so that idea of, the people are expanding, but the physical plant is not, you're not multiplying rooms.
Right.
We're using
Right.
everything that we've got.
We're using everything that we've got. So that's what that desire to move people off campus into their homes is a necessary progression.
Wonderful.
But
Praise
still
God.
people being connected, which is really important.
Do you find that the people that are sitting at tables, did you try to put them together by geographic areas?
Some. Some it's like stage of life. Families with young children, kind of. We have a Margaritaville group. We actually have quite a few people in Margaritaville.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until you start looking. We have some groups that are Sun City. So it's not all by geography, but some of them are.
We get a new family that's got some gray hair and they pull up in a convertible. Margaritaville.
That's your gauge?
Margaritaville.
It's proven true
There.
several times.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's the way they advertise it. They're looking for a different mindset than Sun City's looking for.
True.
And and they target and advertise with such expertise that's who you get. So it's kind of like Charlie and David let it go fishing. You got to use the right bait and you use the bait that catches the fish you want to catch. Otherwise,
And I was just
You
listening
might catch
to
something,
a
but it won't be what you
conversation
want
that
to.
there's a lot to do with balance. Is that right, Charlie? With the pole.
what?
I don't know. I only caught pieces of the conversation. So
Okay. Food bank still rolling? Numbers. I
always,
saw the numbers looked like they were a little bit big.
up yesterday. Gotten a lot of emails through the website of people wanting to know about the food bank and when we operate. And I was able to share a couple of times because we're on Mondays, but some people have missed Monday, or so there was a conversation I was having with somebody on email yesterday, and I said, hey, there's a program that Beaufort County Library is doing where they have free lunch for any children every day during the week.
Really?
All summer. So I was able to share that with, and Elena actually shared that with me last week, was able to share that with a woman, and she's like, oh my goodness, that's so helpful.
That really is filling in the gap between the children who eat lunch at school. That's great.
And it's at the library, so that's also good to get them engaged with books and
They probably have some
food.
special children's reading programs and other things going on with that.
They used to do summer reading program for sure. So I thought that was good for the community. But yeah, the food bank is doing great. I think we've gotten some extra volunteers for God's Goods. They have 2 informational meetings coming up on the 20th and the 22nd. The 20th is at 5:30, I believe, 5 o'clock or 5:30, and then 2 o'clock on the Saturday one. So.
And that's at the God's Goods.
At God's Goods. So if you're interested in finding a place to serve and get connected, that's a great place to start. We always suggest that people start, if you're not a member of the church, to start with food bank and God's Goods.
Yep. And if they wanted the food bank, you just show up and they'll put you to work. It's not an informational meeting.
No informational meeting. No.
Okay.
So a lot of moving parts.
God is good. God is good.
So what else you working on besides schedules?
Sermons for the summer. Got one.
2 Timothy is this weekend on this campus.
Fighting faithfully to the finish. And that's.
And then parents and grandparents, is that right? Talking to grandparents?
Yep. You know, I'm trying to plan them out. Like I'll be up in, by the time I get the schedule and the people who are doing stuff through October, then I'll start filling in. Because I'll have down when I'm preaching, so I'll start working on what I'm going to be doing in those times. And hopefully try to coordinate a little bit with what's going on, like school starting and stewardship or whatever, try to match it up with what life is about during those times so that people can walk away with something that's applicable to their daily existence. I'm going to do one on using the analogy of a blended family. There's a lot of blended families in the parish. And so I'm going to use that as an analogy and talk about the church, what it is and what it isn't, with using that as a connecting point. Because I think everybody would know a lot of families that are blended families. If they're not, they'll know a lot of people that are. So it'll be an applicable analogy, and I hope that works out. That's the idea anyway. And then I got one that I've already started roughing out, called Homespun Wisdom. Little catchphrases that I've heard over the years, that they've been hanging around for centuries, and there's a reason, because there's truth in these little short, pithy statements. Get the word pithy, that'll be in Wordle one day. Pithy. Yeah. But that kind of stuff, and if you got to have the future out there way ahead of you to be able to plan in something this big, to be able to plan stuff where when it comes together, it seems like it was effortless. But there's been a world of effort gone into making. That's the way it is. That's like Dolly Parton said one time. She said, people have no idea how expensive it is to look this cheap.
Or how long it takes her to get ready before she walks out the door.
Whoa.
And the amount of people it takes to get her ready.
She'd have a big entourage. Yep.
We have some updates in the chapel facility.
Okay, tell me about that.
Charlie and Wayne Bowerman and Drew have been working on speakers for under the transepts. They ran the wires the other day.
Do we have a time frame for that?
Soon. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. All
Tomorrow.
right.
So it'll make our friends happy that sit on the transepts.
Tomorrow. And I was on the
Summer's kind of when we catch up on some of that stuff.
historic campus, and we only have 3 hearing devices left over there. People
I know,
People
friends, if
walk
you
out with
borrow those,
those.
please turn them back in.
and 2 of those weren't working right. And one of the ladies said, my hearing aids aren't enough. And I said, have you turned them up? She's sitting on the second row. Yeah, but they still aren't enough. So I let that go. But anyway, the people living longer, and those extra hearing devices are great, and they're hooked right to your main line off of the.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Comes
not
off
picking
of
up
your
the lower.
microphone.
They're coming the main line and over that microphone, and you adjust it. So we're going to get some more of those. And I think people have them on. Then they forget they have them on, and they just walk out. So. And they don't work outside the church. Time you get home, it isn't helping you.
So if you walked it out, let's walk it back.
Yeah.
So that we can share. But
So
we'll add that to the list on
got it in my
historic
pocket.
campus needs.
Got it in my pocket.
All right.
By God's grace. So
All right. Well, give us a parting thought.
I've been reading poetry lately.
Oh, okay. That's different.
I'm a Renaissance man,
Well, I knew that, but so any particular, just a book of poetry?
No, just real random. I do have a book of poetry from when I was in high school. I like to read through that. But no particular things. I read with, and I always have a sermon in mind, because I like, sometimes poetry and songs and all can say things that words can't, or give you another look into an idea you're trying to present. And so I was looking for something the other day about, in the sermon that I'm working with now, or preaching now, the idea that you're not alone, that God's always with you, that the line is only God, that people are often faithful, but people are also often fickle. Only God is finally and fully faithful. So I was looking for something. I had in mind this song that you didn't see it. There was a program called The Christophers a long time ago. No. Anyway, it was about light one candle in the darkness. You ever heard that? Well, that was them. So they had a theme song about that. You'll never walk alone. And there was also a John Wayne movie about that. Not about that particularly, but that was the theme song. If you walk through the night, The High and the Mighty was the name of it. He was an older airplane pilot. They were trying to get rid of him. And anyway, it's got Dan Duryea, I think, was in that too. Anyway, I was trying to find the poem that the Christophers used. Couldn't find it, but I found one kind of close. And so I was reading poems about you're not alone, that God is with you. Well, there's a lot of poetry.
Which is an important
and when
message
you're a
for
young
everybody.
person coming through high school, a boy, that kind of stuff, you don't want to.
Poetry is not it.
No, and the Wordsworth and Keats and Shelley
And your dad
lines
taught you
above
that
the
class.
Tintern Abbey, I think was one of Wordsworth's ones. You have to memorize these things. Now, Charge of the Light Brigade, we had to memorize part of that. Raven had to memorize part of that too. Those kind of poems were all right, but some of the others, you got to stretch to get where that's coming from. But that's another story too. But I have some of those books, and now you read, they don't seem.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
You're like, oh, okay.
and I think that's one of the things about it, and it's like I gave Drew the copy of that book, Monte Cristo. Those authors, when Alexander Dumas was writing that book. He's a grown man, and he's writing, and his life experiences and all that. Well, if you're a young person reading it, you can't relate to the experiences. So much of it just. Whew.
That's why I think it's so important to go back and read the classics as an adult.
Oh yeah, because adults were writing those things.
Right, and it's
as
completely
much as they
different.
try to write it for younger people or a wide variety of audiences and all that, they can't do that. And I think the next one I'm going to go after now is Tale of Two Cities. I've got that somewhere, and see what's going on with that, because that would be the same kind of thing. But anyway, your mom and I watched the Count of Monte Cristo Sunday afternoon, the movie with Jim Caviezel. Very good. Very good. Very good.
It's a good wind down after a busy weekend of services and preaching. And yeah. Well, very good. All right. Don't forget Food Bank. Drop off donations at services this weekend. You'll start to see some information coming up about baptism, river baptism in August, confirmation coming up. So we're looking ahead, but also being present.
The 18th,
August the 18th. Yes.
And it's not just baptism.
Recommitment.
It's also recommitting yourself to your baptismal vows.
Yes, and we have some of both on the sign up right now.
That's
We have
right.
some people that are being baptized for the first time, and then we have some that are being recommitted. So either one, but look for that in the e-news this week. Also, big news. This week in the e-news will be a link to the hottest ticket in town for our congregation. Family night for the Church of the Cross at the Savannah Bananas. I know you don't know what that is. I can tell by the look on your face. But they sell out every game. And they just sold out, what's the big park in Fenway? They sold out.
Savannah Bananas are going to Fenway Park?
They were at Fenway Park. It was an exhibition
In
game. It's
Boston?
Here's what you
In
can relate
Boston?
to. I think it was last weekend.
Oh my goodness.
They're like the
people are saying-
Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
So they're even better than Caitlin Clark then.
I'm not going to get into all that controversy, but
She's selling out the arenas too.
she is. But this is family night for the Church of the Cross in August. So the link will be in the e-news this Thursday. And it's going to be just a great fun time for our church, our people of all ages to go and watch, because you cannot get a ticket. We secured this link almost a year ago.
That's hard to imagine. That people are lined up
But
to go see a baseball
I've
team.
never been, but it looks like just a fun time. And if you start following some of the players on social media, there are some very strong Christian men on this team. And so it'll be a fun night. You don't have to go, but if you want to go,
Thank you.
follow the link. Do not share the link on social media, because scalpers will take it and then it shuts us down.
Whoa.
That's how popular they are. And if our link is shut down, we no longer
Well,
have
do they play
access.
baseball?
A little bit.
I mean, it's
I've never been.
kind of a clue when they call themselves Bananas that there's not
I think
a whole
it's
lot of
during the
baseball going
innings
on.
and things they break into dance and song, and it looks like a lot of fun. Right, it's like the Globetrotters. A little bit of basketball, a little bit of tricks.
Okay. All right, there you go. You heard it first here.
Savannah Bananas. Look for the email on Thursday.
They playing the
I don't.
Tampa Tangerines or something.
It's something like that, but I don't remember.
God, dang.
We'll take lots of pictures to share with you.
Please. I would hate to miss that.
Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Blessings to you. Got a hug for you when I see you.